Hey everybody, so how's it going? My name is D. Wesley, and you have now come onto the channel of Lazy Brown Productions. Today, I'll be doing a little series I call Tubi Adventures, where I kind of just go over Tubi movies, Tubi shows, or a series, and I just give it a review. So, today I'll be going over Digimon Adventures Tri, because apparently they got a new movie coming out, or series coming out, and I wanted to give the movie I never got a chance to watch a try, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So, Digimon Adventures Tri, the very first one. The movie was bland, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, it felt like it was missing something. I don't know what that something was, but if I had to say, it felt lackluster. My coworker tried telling me that maybe it's because we're older now. I could deal with certain factors of it. Things aren't going to be the same as I was a kid, and I'm cool with that. But watching it now that I'm older, honestly, if I watched that as a kid, I probably would have been bored. I hate to say that, but the movie was mid. Very, very mid. So, here's why it was mid. The movie pretty much starts off with the introduction of the Digidestined, the original ones. This movie is focused clearly on just the first season of Digimon. So it's Hi, Matt, Sora. I'm going to be using their English names because honestly, there's very few of them that I remember their Japanese name. So with that in mind, the movie starts off with showing they're all trying to, where they're at in life, what they're trying to be in the future. They kind of do a glimpse showing that the season 2 kids somehow maybe got kidnapped or they were taken away. And, you know, you can see that they all miss being together. They can't be together as much as they want to be. Ty's still doing his soccer thing. Matt's doing music. TK is flirting with a bunch of girls. Kari's out enjoying her best life with her friends. Sora is... I feel like they're trying to make it seem like Sora's trying to choose between Matt and Ty. But we all know that's just... No, we all know that's not it. But then again, she could just be trying to keep the friendship together and be fair to all. So, the movie starts off with, you got Ty trying to get people together, his friends together, to go see a soccer game. You got Matt trying to invite people to go to his concert. Matt, initially, I want to say this little tidbit, he literally tries to get Sora to come because you can tell that he really likes her and she's kind of like hesitant or whatever. The movie feels like a coming-of-age movie because it deals with the things that most people, I want to say teenagers at that age come to, which is, what am I going to do in the future? Am I growing up? Do I approach this the same way that I would approach it as a kid or as my past self? And that's pretty much the hurdle. My friends are not around as much as they are. We try, but life has taken us in different directions, but we're still there for each other. So it attacks those concepts pretty interesting, if I had to say so myself. But overall, the movie was just kind of bland because eventually the bug Digimon, I think it was like Kabutoramon, the giant bug with the pincers, came out, attacked the city, destroying, wrecking havoc, which understandably causes public mayhem. The Digidestined were able to stop it. So kind of find out that now the Digidestined now have to deal with public perception of Digimon and how the public feels about them and these monsters attacking. And of course, the Digidestined feel attacked because they said, well, not all Digimon are evil. And that's an understandable statement. But let's also be honest here. You guys are too close to this because you deal with Digimon on a daily basis. You deal with who the good ones are, who the bad ones are. You know that they're just like humans, but fundamentally, they are dangerous. Digimon are very dangerous because they're digital. So, and in a world that now, sorry, in a world where we live off of the internet and digital platforms and all that stuff, honestly, Digimon would probably be the most dangerous right now. Like, honest to God, they really would be dangerous. So you got a lot of Digidestined, they're ready to fight. Like, Matt, he's ready to throw down. Like, somebody badmouths the Digimon. He's like, yo, who we are, Matt? And then Tai has to stop him. Tai says, dude, no, calm down. Like, it ain't worth it. So Matt's like, what's wrong with you? You know, before you would do this, you would do that, you would do da. So now Tai's like, we can't roll like that anymore, my dude. So you see the hesitation there. Eventually, it starts getting more and more of a level. And apparently they introduced this new girl. And new girl has Digimon and everything like that. Also, they found out that they introduced a new organization that's been keeping track of all Digimon-related activities. On top of Digimon-related activities, they've been keeping track of pretty much the Digidestined because they're the only ones who can really stop them. So that's also pretty interesting. Again, they're trying to tackle this more in a realistic approach, which I'm not against that. But Matt, or I should say Tai, now has to figure out what he's trying to do in life. And now, because he's trying to figure that out, this happens, and now it pushes him more towards a goal where, as we saw in the previous, like long ago, when they all show like what their future careers are, you can actually see now why he was pushed towards being a liaison between the digital world and the human world. Honestly, this actually sets this up perfectly, so now it's understandable because it shows that he's actually grown up. He's not the same guy that he was as a kid, and that's the thing. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grow. You don't lose yourself, but at the same time, you grow and you mature. Nat, on the other hand, he kind of got on my nerves because, actually, no, it wasn't Nat. It was what they did to Tai in this situation, where they had Tai have all these thoughts running around in his head, but he never explained it to nobody. And he had good points, but it was mad because they needed to find a way to cause that little friction, which I cannot stand when you force a friction like this, where the main leader has good points, but because you need more friction, or maybe because of whatever, he doesn't explain it, and then they force everybody else to not see it his way. But automatically, we're supposed to think that Matt's the automatic, well, he's right because he's sitting up here saying things that need to be said. No matter what, we gotta stop him. No matter what, they can't talk about our friends. But it's like, Matt, you're too close to this. You have the friendship crest, so it's understandable why you ride and die for your friends. But sometimes you also gotta look at it from a standpoint of, sorry to tell you this, but they are dangerous. Like, the public perception is going to be scared because at the end of the day, guess what? You can protect yourself, Matt. You have a Digimon. You have something that can protect you if push comes to shove. They also introduced a pretty cool concept where they have Digimon in these little rooms, and anytime I guess they're near the internet or something like that, the Digimon could come out through the digital world, through the digital portal. They could call upon them. Another interesting concept was, well, first off, Izzy, like, I didn't know how much goated he was until now I'm older, and I truly see, like, yo, Izzy's the dude who, he's carrying this, he carries the team hardcore, like, he really does. So then it kind of showed Joe, like, it's easy to write Joe out because all you do is show Joe, he's constantly trying to be a better doctor, and that's what he wants to do in the future. So his studies are, he's kind of just blinded to everything around him but his studies. In other words, if it's not his studies, he doesn't care. Of course, he loves his Digimon partners, he loves everything that's going on. But at the same time, though, if it's nothing to do with his studies, he's kind of just focused on it. And to me, that's fine to a certain degree, but when you have things like the world blowing up behind you or like heavy news articles, it becomes a liability because it's now that you're not keen to what's going on around you. And that's just my one little tidbit about that. So I want to say overall the movie is focused mostly on Matt and Tai, and the other DJs, of course, where they're doing and how they feel about the situation, but it feels like it's mostly coming from them. Now, here are some of the downsides of what they've introduced now to the movie. You introduce Digimon to the populace, and now they're like, who are these monsters? What's going on here? Why are they wreaking havoc? How can we get rid of them? How can we make sure that they never come around again? Now, here's the thing, though. This ain't your first rodeo with Digimon. Like, in season 2, like legit, in season 2, you have a whole, I want to say, you have the whole world had Digi partners. Like, there are multiple kids around the fucking globe who had digital partners, and they were taking care of the bad Digimon, but at the same time, it's like, how are you going to sit up here and say, like, well, we didn't know this was happening? It was a global event. Like, what you mean you didn't know? Like, and then you had it where there were kids in the Digimon attack. Then you had it where they were older kids and War Greymon fought Mega Myotismon and just wrecked the whole city of Japan. Well, I'm talking about they just wrecked the heck out of it. But all of a sudden now it's, what are these mass creatures? What? That to me is the weird part. I'm like, bro, like, you trying to tell me that this never made news? This never made anything? Like, why are you just now, just all of a sudden like, oh, well, what's going on here? No, it's, you had Digidestined in America, you had Digidestined in Russia, you had Digidestined all around the world. Matter of fact, that was a premise of Digimon Adventures 2, is they're going to meet all these different Digimon. So, to me, that kind of, it hurts the story. Because I'm like, but wait, how is the public perception going to feel this way when this has always happened? I do like the fact that Tai is thinking that, holy crap, we're really doing damage here. Because it's the things that he's blind as the kid not thinking about, that now that he's older, you see it. Honestly, I think if they wanted to go darker, they really would have showed like people being hurt and the destruction that they're causing. And it's weird that he never once, the whole time, just really just explained that. He kind of does when they're trapped in a Ferris wheel, but it felt like, no, really tie it down. Like, really just sit down and tell the whole group, like, guys, we have to be careful of how we do this. Maybe we need to start training. This isn't a digital world where if we blow stuff up, it's all going to be fine. No, we are fucking shit up here. And it's dangerous, and somebody might end up dying. And I don't think that's a need for him to stop fighting because he's fearful that it's going to wreak havoc. They're going to wreak even more havoc if you don't. But it's also a good point of, no, like, we need to figure something out to stop these Digimon from really destroying the whole world. I mean, destroying the havoc when we're fighting. Matt is blinded because he just wants to stop it, and he, honestly, I didn't know Matt was that. I knew Matt was kind of hot-headed from time to time, but he's very hot-headed. And I think they pretty much explained that he's worried that Tai is changing to the point where he doesn't recognize him. And a lot of them are changing. They're growing up. I think the one who's doing the most growing is Tai, in my opinion. Matt's not bad in this. He's really not. Like, it makes sense of what he's trying to do, which is, I want to clear my friends' names, the Digimon name. I want to show that there's bad ones and there are good ones. So that is that's understandable. It really, really is. So eventually, the ending comes where Tai managed to block all of it out, stop the Mega Digimon that's wreaking havoc, and they manage to fuse, and it becomes a thing. It gets so, I don't think you need to show the point where it's so bad that Agumon has to get hurt or plead for Tai to fight. That to me was, man, whatever. I don't think you need to go that far. I kind of like that Izzy has a crush on Mimi. I know it doesn't happen, but I'm kind of wishing that they do get married in the future and that those kids were each other's kids. I would love that, but it's a possibility that probably won't happen. But either way, it's still a fun little concept. I truly appreciate that. Overall, the movie, as I said before, it was kind of bland. I can't say much about it. I like what they tried to introduce. I do enjoy the mindset where they're trying to go with this. But some things, it's just hard to fully get on board when the past has said otherwise. Like, you can't introduce the concept that the world is now knowing about Digimon when they've already wreaked havoc before. So we'll go from there. We'll see what happens to the other Digidestined, but for now, I'm gonna try a new rating system. I'm still working out the kinks for it, but this is a movie of, it's alright. It's, you have nothing to do and you just flip it through stuff and you want to feel nostalgic but feel a little bit of a coming of age, you can go ahead and watch it. So if I had to give it a rating system, if I had to give it a number system, I give it a 6.5. It doesn't hit. It really doesn't. But it is what it is. But tell me what you think and comment below. And thank you for looking at my review. And I'll catch you later. Peace.